In this video, I will be showing you how to create a research page. In art class, a research page is just where you do some research on a topic, usually in art history, and in this particular case, we will be doing a research page on the art period of realism. So here's an example of what I came up with. So I have my title here, Realism, and I have a few areas, big ideas, different artists, and some history. I added some graphics, and I will now show you step by step how to create your own research page. Let's get started. We are going to be making a research page. You will need white drawing paper, a pencil, an eraser, a ruler is optional, and you will want to have your notes nearby that you took during the video or that you looked up online, and you're going to want to have a couple of symbols picked out. You need at least 3 sketches or objects on your research page. I always like to start my research page with the title because that's the most important thing. What is your research about? And in this case, we're doing realism. So I did some bubble letters spelling out realism. And then I referenced some font pages that I created that had several different alphabets to pick from. And I chose one that looks sort of like it had been painted with brush strokes. You want your title to be bold and stand out and help everyone to know what your research is about. Behind my bubble letters, I drew a cartoon sketch of a famous painting from the Realism movement called Christina's World by Andrew Wyeth. In this painting, there's a woman out in a field looking out across the field at her house, and it shows the isolation and kind of loneliness of growing up in a farming community and being out in the middle of nowhere. On the other side, I didn't need to do the rest of my title because realism is a pretty short word. So I was able to sketch out some realistic looking objects, a message in a bottle, a shell, and a wooden spool of thread. I also added some concepts such as naturalism, perspective, photographic devices, and photorealism. All concepts that the realism artists were interested in. Another important tool to have handy would be a pencil sharpener because it's often much easier to write, especially small letters, if your pencil is well sharpened. Once you're done with your title, your symbols, and your notes, the next step is to go ahead and ink everything. You can use any kind of pen you want. You can even use a ballpoint pen, a Sharpie, or any other pen that works well for you. I recommend using a Sharpie because it is permanent, and if you use watercolor, it will not run or smear. Once you have your inking done, the last and final step is to go ahead and add color. You can do this in a variety of ways. I chose this time to use watercolor. I have a wonderful portable watercolor set that I actually got because a student had one and recommended it, and I have had it for a little over a year and I really enjoy it. But you could also use colored pencils, collage, or maybe colored markers. You do want to think about what colors are going to work well with your design. My painting Christina's World had lots of yellow and brown, so I decided to use mostly yellow and orange in my final sketchbook research page. And you can use any color that you want. just try and make all the colors work well together. So depending on what color you pick, you want to pick other colors that look good. And then I decided I definitely wanted to have a fall leaf, and I didn't want it to be green because it's fall. So I went with red, orange, and yellow with a hint of green, so that it would remind me that I made this page in the fall. I really like how the yellow looks around the corners, and I like how the blue realism word stands out from the page.